I don't know how to work this thing. I don't know what I'm doing, but it says the numbers keep rotating. Okay, what's going on? How you doing? I hope your day coming along well so far. Hey, what's going on? Whenever you get this live, hello, hello, hello. It's the thought process for me. When you're minding your business within minding your business, you ain't got room to be minding somebody else's business but your own, especially when you don't got malicious intention to bring harm towards somebody else. You know the second thing, the person they freedom and all that, like it's the mindset for me. Hello. When staying in your lane, minding your business, they always trying to put you in their behavior of their mindset. When you ain't even trying to think about what they think about at the end of the day. You just minding your business and minding your business. But that's besides the point. This is to say this. You know, it's real out here. Like it's so real out here that you can't be your genuine, authentic self because you're being labeled because of your sexual orientation at the end of the day. And it's funny and disturbing to see at the end of the day how the enemy will allow you to believe to go against your neighbor. And your enemy will put you in a situation where you have to fight for your life and reevaluate your thought process to say, you know what, I can't allow someone to psych me on my thought process today, let alone my freedom or my pockets, to put me in a situation where I can't be able to see for myself, let alone fend for myself. You know, I'm going to just say this to say this. When it comes to being a lesbian, nah, for real, when it comes to being a lesbian, because it's the mindset for me, because not everybody's on that same toxic behavior, energy at the end of the day. When it comes to churning and all that, not everybody's in tune with all that stuff. So y'all labeling all the wrong people in different categories at the end of the day because it's a label on it. And it's sad and disgusting and disturbing at the same time too. Because not everybody who is a lesbian or a gay man is in tune with that toxic behavior or whatever narrative somebody's trying to push. And I say this respectfully because I am a lesbian. Yes, I am. And I love myself and I respect myself to know at the end of the day I can stay in my lane and respect myself and respect my neighbor. And not to have malicious intentions. To psych someone they thought process, loading their freedom on their pockets at the end of the day. It's the mindset for me. You know, they so quick to judge somebody instead of in tune getting to know these folks at the end of the day for who they truly are. But they want somebody to understand them to get in tune with who they are. You can't be one-sided when being in tune with somebody. And one thing you can never do is question God. And I say that respectfully. Because I am a child of God. Regardless of my color, my skin, regardless of however you look at me at the end of the day, you never judge a book by its cover. I overcame so much in my life. I stand before myself today with God's guidance and God's protection for the right direction, that God will guide me to the right people and allow the right people to show me that I am worthy of love and I am worthy of being respected. At a young age, I was sexually assaulted as a kid. It wasn't in my control. So you're going to blame that little kid in me that was within me, that they installed this behavior within me, that it was okay? And all I was trying to do was just breathe and come into a world to find myself, to love myself, to value my time and respect my neighbor and be a kid, but I couldn't be a kid because I wasn't fair. I was living in a lifestyle at the end of the day that, who the hell am I? That's how I felt. Who am I? But I know that at a young age that God showed me certain doors and certain things and allowed me to see myself before I was able to see myself, to say to myself is, I got your back. These people ain't no good for you. And what they did to you was not right. When you got people working with each other at the end of the day, a system within a system of a system, working against children, you don't know what somebody's been through at the end of the day. For you to sit there and label somebody and say somebody's sexual orientation, that God is not working in their favor, and God is going to allow them to believe that God's not going to show up for them. I'm a living testimony today that God has been guiding me. And God has been showing me at the end of the day that there are better days ahead. That there are people out here that have malicious intentions and that are not too mentally well, and that will psych you out your thought process, loading your freedom on your pockets to allow you to believe it's the norm to go and believe their mindset. To go against your own judgment when something is not right. To go against your own belief. Because they feel like the narrative that you're trying to push is not right. because you're a lesbian, or because they feel like God is not working in your favor at the end of the day because of your sexual orientation. You know, being a firm believer within a firm believer, overcoming alcoholism, overcoming substances that were displayed that was supposed to be the norm to run to escape pain, or to be around toxic behavior and toxic people that belittled you, disrespected you, try to control you. That was not the norm. But God showed you I can close certain doors for you right in front of your face and show you that who the enemy really is, and show you that I can allow these folks to show you that I can allow you to override whatever was just installed within you so you can become your best self vision of yourself. And you going to be the living testimony because I'm showing you that you are a living proof of a miracle within the miracle of yourself. Being traumatized as a child, going into your adulthood, dealing with trauma after trauma. People closing their doors on you, didn't want to help you. People didn't know how to respect you, let alone take the time to get to know you. Because they overlooked you. Because of somebody labeling you as you crazy, you delusional, you all this toxic behavior. You're not trustworthy. You don't mean nothing. Because they try to allow a community to go against this one person. Only this one person. And this one person had to defend themselves against all these communities at the end of the day. To reevaluate their thought process that God was guiding them the whole entire time. Days when they felt unworthy of themselves because the enemy allowed them to believe that they was unworthy, to allow them to believe that they were supposed to live in fear. But God showed that child of God a better plan and showed that child of God that, hey, I could be patient with you. I could show you that you can become a believer within becoming a believer within yourself. Because I'm about to show you that you are the living testimony, that I'm going to show the world who you truly are. You know, they say you don't wear a mask when you genuinely in tune with yourself. You don't wear a mask when you genuinely say you love yourself. You don't wear a mask when you're a firm believer in the God within you and you believe in God. Because when you believe in God and God believes in you, God's going to guide you the right way. Regardless of who gave up on you or overlooked you. You didn't have a mother, you didn't have a father, or you had folks that were playing these roles as your parents at the end of the day, or your guardians at the end of the day, and they never took the time to get to know you for who you truly was. Because they had malicious intentions. Their intentions was never good from day one. Or if they didn't have intentions at the end of the day, or good ones at the end of the day, they was all smoked out, doped out, all cooked out, or bent out of shape, and they couldn't be in tune to who you truly was. I said what I said when I said what I said. Is that your fault that was endured within you as a child to be sexually assaulted, or for your parents to be all doped out, or whatever the case may be, you put a name to your book? Was that okay? Was that the norm? No, it was not the norm. Ain't nothing about the norm for someone to be overlooked, especially a child that's supposed to be protected by a community, let alone the loved ones. But when they loved ones have malicious intentions to select them out their thought process on their freedom, to manipulate them, or allow them to believe that they wasn't worthy as a person, before they can even think for themselves, because someone tried to control their mindset to allow them to believe, I'm going to control this narrative and ain't nobody going to believe you because you a kid. You know how that feels to be a kid and your voice don't matter? You could be saying somebody's trying to hurt you and you're in fear, you're scared, you can't even talk for yourself because you don't want to say the wrong things. Because when you go home to that person, they're going to try to hurt you. They're going to disrespect you. And then they try to portray to other people that they're so good people. And in reality, they out here psyching people out their thought process, alone their freedom. All because of who you was. All because you were special. Not only was you special, just because certain people are placed in your life don't mean they're supposed to be in your life. When God removes certain people from out of your life for a reason, it's for a reason. You know, they say it's for a season. Sometimes in situations, that's just that split of a second, that temporary moment, is the reason why God's allowing you to see, hey, this is why these people are being removed out of your life. And people don't understand and can't get in tune why Your family don't deal with you. Why would your family push you away? And as you try to explain yourself, what you're trying to explain yourself, you get lost in your own thought process and say to yourself is, even if I told you, you wouldn't believe me. It's the mindset for me. You know how it feels for a child to try to confide in an adult and to feel in fear and be scared that they can't confide in someone that just hurted them, that just manipulated them? You understand the trauma within that child, that child didn't get help from the very first day they were supposed to get help because people felt like, you know what? I got my own personal problems. I deal with it. They could deal with it too. Wait, what? It's the mindset for me. How you can allow a baby to go through something and you're aware of it and the community is aware of it and nobody got the baby help. Nobody took the right steps to get the baby help before that baby turned into a teenager or that baby turned into an adult. Because that baby will forever be a baby until they become that adult. Because the little version of them, the little self of them, will always show up. And that's why trauma is so real. And that's why trauma is so overlooked. And that's why trauma needs to be reevaluated, not with a pain pill. Or sitting there trying to psych someone out their thought process, allow them to believe, sitting there talking to them for 30, 45 minutes to an hour, thinking that just relieved them, and it only just brought them more pain, talking to the wrong person. It's the mindset for me, because some people don't want to do their job. They just get paid just to sit there and look cute. And I say that respectfully, because when getting in tune with yourself, to respect yourself, you want somebody to treat you how you want somebody to. You want somebody to treat you the way you're being treated to the next person. I said it right. You want somebody to treat you. You want somebody to treat you right. You know what I just said. Yeah, hello. But the moral of the story is, the way you would want somebody to treat you with respect at the end of the day is what you will want to get back in return. Is for someone to be paid forward with respect, regardless if it's a child or not. At the end of the day, respect goes a long way. It's to say this: when dealing with trauma that gets overlooked, it starts at home first. And I say that respectfully. Sometimes it don't start at home, but majority of the time it starts at home. And then people say to themselves is, well, I didn't know this was going on within transpiring, when they knew the whole entire time what that child was going through. But they try to sit there and manipulate the system and allow the system to believe something that is not true. And especially when the system is on a same team. And I say that respectfully. You know, it's so traumatizing to see that a child could be traumatized as a kid point of view going into their adulthood. You know, even if it was sexual, and they never got the help when they became an adult. And they've been dealing with trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma. And this person just became a toxic person because they didn't know how to deal with their emotions. They didn't know how to confide in people because they didn't trust people. So, of course, you're going to latch out and pick up a substance. Of course, you're going to latch out and disrespect people. Of course, you're going to latch out and disrespect your neighbor. Of course, because you don't care. You don't care. And when you don't care, what's the consequences behind not caring? You don't care. So whatever happens behind you not caring, the consequences you're receiving from that, you don't care. So you're not even mentally aware of yourself to want to care. Because being that you don't care, and this is what happens with trauma. When you deal with trauma and you're not aware of yourself, you're displaying certain actions into the universe that's toxic, that's unhealthy, and the enemy is allowing you to believe it's the norm to go against your neighbor, regardless of whatever you've been through in your life. But this is just to say this, just to wrap my story up, or whatever the case may be. Never judge a book by its cover. Because at the end of the day, not every gay person is in tune with hurting children or bringing those type of acts on children or whatever they trying to display about the LGBT community, lesbians, gay people, it don't matter. Whatever they trying to display in this world is toxic. And I mean toxic to the utmost power, that when you involve kids and you involve in certain books, talking about certain things at the end of the day, hold on, pause. Wait. Now you're doing too much. And I say that respectfully. You're doing too much. Allow the child to get to a certain age where they're comfortable in their skin to say to themselves is, you know what, I think I like a man. I think I'm a man. I'm a man and I like another man. I'm a female and I like another female. You know? But once they get to a certain decent age to make that awareness of themselves, ain't no baby aware of themselves at what age? Let's be real. And especially something being forced on them. It's different. It's so different. Because as I review certain things with certain individuals that were sexually assaulted as a child, point of view, a lot of them didn't start making decisions for themselves until they had to make a decision for themselves to say, you know what, my sexuality, this is who I am. And that didn't turn into when they got into maybe high school. That didn't start until high school. Some people may start it early, but it was never forced. When something isn't forced on you, the mindset is different. But when it's forced on you, you start to reevaluate your thought process and say to yourself is, that's not healthy. That's not what God installed within us, to force something on somebody that doesn't want that. And like I said, for certain narratives to be pushed right now when it comes to a certain community, I am a lesbian, but I'm not part of certain communities at the end of the day. It's called respect. You feel me? I'm not going to be affiliated with something that don't respect me and that I'm not going to be, I don't agree to. You know, because when you agree to something, you're participating in it, right or wrong. And just because I'm an individual who likes women at the end of the day, don't mean I'm participating in that shenanigans. And I say that respectfully, because this is what happens with people. And I analyze this myself, and I had to reevaluate myself. I had to say to myself is, I had to watch the news to reevaluate my thought process and say, this is why they saying what they saying, why they saying what they saying. And I'm saying to myself is, hold on, pause. I had a conversation with an individual, right? And a few people. And they said to me is, they tried to bring me out of character. I didn't understand why. And then when I heard them say, oh, she's a lesbian, I reevaluated my thought process and say to myself is, what the hell me being a lesbian got to do with anything respecting my neighbor at the end of the day? It was just a thought process of me. Like, I was so confused as to, am I being bullied? Because I know what it feels like to be bullied since I was a kid. And I've been being bullied since all my goddamn life. And I say that respectfully. Regardless of my sexual orientation, regardless of what trauma I done dealt with as a child, I done been bullied beyond bullied. Like, what do you mean? And I'm saying to myself is, am I having a moment to myself or am I bugging out? Like, you know when you gotta reevaluate your thought process and say, nah, you're not bugging. They said what they just said. And then when they realized they didn't get a reaction that they was expecting to get out of me, I'm saying to myself is, hold on. We got a problem. We got a real problem. It's a real life problem out here. It's a problem. Because you know what? Everybody's not the same when it comes to their sexual orientation. And I say that respectfully. Not everybody's going to sit here and go back and forth with you with words. Not everybody's going to sit here and agree with the mindset of the devil or the enemy or the hate in disguise or the person with malicious intentions. No! Not everybody's on that same page. And for you to feel like everybody's on that same page just to pick and choose who you want to pick on, you need to stop. Especially when you're dealing with a child of God. For real, for real. Enough is enough. You know, they keep saying, People to get their life together when you're a lesbian or you're gay or whatever the case may be, because God's not working in your favor. Ma'am, sir, no disrespect or shade to nobody. At the end of the day, when I was homeless, I ain't have nowhere to go. God guided me. When I had food, no money in my pocket, God guided me. When I didn't understand myself, to see for myself, God guided me. When I wasn't able to understand my thought process, days when I couldn't see to understand the self-awareness within myself, God guided me. When I didn't have patience within myself, God guided me. When I didn't have self-control within myself, God guided me. When I had anxiety problems, God guided me. When I didn't have self-love for myself, God guided me. When I didn't understand the definition of self-peace within myself, God guided me. When I understood the assignment within assignment to not put toxic stuff in my body when it came to alcohol, whatever substance you put to your book, that you choose for yourself at the end of the day. When you least expect it, God will guide you too. It's going on 7 years, a little more than that now, since I can actually say I have not picked up a drink. With God's guidance, I didn't have the energy to have a taste for it. It made me sick. I could be around people who do it all day long. I don't got nothing against nobody that do it, you know? But it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. I was escaping something that was within me that I didn't know what I was even running from. That's how real it was. I was running from myself. This whole entire time I was running from myself. I've been in my healing process now for over 8 years. For a little over 8 years now. And I've been doing this solo dolo with God by my side. With no guidance besides God. With no genuine respect besides God. No genuine love besides God. And God guided me the right way. So when you sit here and talk about somebody's sexual orientation and all that, yo, check yourself. Because before you sit here and judge somebody at the end of the day, you don't even know who you are. You don't. And I say that respectfully, because if you genuinely got in tune with who you truly are at the end of the day, and you sat down by yourself with nobody around you, and sat in your own mindset, and just sat there, it'd be things that would be coming into play that you'd be reevaluating your thought process, saying to yourself is, oh shoot, I ain't know that was even bothering me. Yeah, you would. Yeah, you would. I could bet any amount of money in this motherfucking world, and I say that respectfully, that you would. It don't matter if it was recent or not. It wouldn't matter if it was 20, 30, 40 years ago. It don't matter. You see how the animosity you have for certain individuals that took place maybe 150 years ago, 60 years ago, you got that animosity in you? Do you have it in you? It's the mindset for me. How people sit here and judge a book by its cover without even getting in tune to know the real meaning of what self-love looks like without wearing a mask. Everybody be worried about everybody else's problem besides being on the same page and being genuine and true. Instead of going against each other, we need to come again. We need to come to terms that we need to come to a mean of, at the end of the day, we need to come together in a healthy way. Because at the end of the day, you allowing the enemy to sit back and watch you and laugh in your face. It's the mindset for me. You know, when God installs self-awareness, self-respect, self-healing, self-control, self-discipline, self-care, self-value, self-worth, self-patience, self-peace, self-love, and self-confidence within us, so we could become our best self-vision of ourselves. to understand the assignment and assignment that God got our back. Good day, bad day, misunderstanding day. God allowed you to see another day for a reason. So God is patient with you. You know, everybody's entitled to freedom of speech, and this is not for everybody. And that's okay. But when you know, you know. Never judge a book by its cover, and I say that respectfully. Because the same way you would want somebody to respect you, regardless of your sexual orientation or not, and you dealt with alcoholism, you being traumatized, going through your adulthood, whatever trauma you done experienced at the end of the day, whatever substance that you done put in your body, whatever poor relationships you done dealt with in your past, or whatever closet secret you have that nobody knows about but you and God. Because you think God is not looking when God is in tune to know what you truly got going on. You would want somebody to stand up for you. You would want somebody to hear what you have to say. You wouldn't be going against the wrong people. You wouldn't be going against the wrong people. It's just like this. You know how when you're able to point out certain individuals who's not for you and who's for you? That's how you gotta do this. You gotta point out who's for you and who's not for you. Because just like that, you have a family member that's a lesbian or a gay man. And y'all cool, y'all mad cool. Y'all cool. They don't have no malicious intentions to bring harm towards no children, let alone you, themselves, or others around you. But being that a certain narrative was pushed, so when you look at your family member, do you look at your family member like that? Or you standing up for your family member because you know what? Not everybody's like that. It's nothing to think hard about at the end of the day. It's not. It's called respect, though. And identifying who is who. You know, like, the game Guess Who? Something like that. You could dress them up all the same. You could dress them up all the same. But you still won't know who's who. It's the mindset for me. Because you allowing the enemy to sit there in your face and tell you that going against your neighbor was the norm. No! That's what you're saying. You're basically saying that. You're basically saying that it's okay, it's the norm for your neighbor to go, you and your neighbor to go against each other when you and your neighbor don't even have those intentions towards each other, let alone they're harming any children or themselves or you. They don't have none of that that's being displayed to the universe. They don't have none of that that's being displayed, period. Like, they don't even move like that at all. So what happens to your family member now, and they saying that your family member got to do time because they was labeled. And because they was labeled, they don't have no bail, no bond money, and you're the only person to speak up for them and vouch for them, to defend them, and you're willing to do it proudly too. It's the mindset. For me, protect your energy, y'all. Not everybody's deserving your time. They would sit here and try to psych you out your thought process on your freedom, but the whole entire time, they only playing their own face. You know, it don't take a rocket scientist to figure this out. But when you know, you know. Protect your energy, respect your neighbor with no malicious intentions to bring harm towards yourself and others around you. It's called respect, and respect goes a long way. You know, I'm going to say this respectfully. You know, everybody's agreeing to disagree, and it's okay. But one thing's for certain, two things for sure. When you're in tune with God and God's in tune with you, God's going to be patient with you. God's going to allow you to believe that God's going to guide you the right way because your steps have already been ordered. Your steps have already been ordered. And being that your steps have already been ordered, and you're that type of neighbor who doesn't understand themselves or allow a child of God to believe that God is not working in their favor, like, chill, fall back, neighbor, stay in your lane. Questioning a child of God, it's like questioning God. And I'm just saying out of respect at the end of the day, because when you know, you know. You know, You can hear testimonies after testimonies at the end of the day. But when you know someone's being authentic and genuine and true to you, you can tell the difference between pointing out individuals who don't need to be labeled in certain groups at the end of the day. Because you wouldn't want that family member that you love and respect all day long for somebody to label them. And you know they don't move like that, not even a little bit. If anything, they respect the children in a healthy way. The children respect them in a healthy way. Because respect goes a long way. It takes a village to raise children, regardless if the parents are alive or not at the end of the day. And how do we protect the children from people who are allowing you to believe it's the norm to go against your neighbor when you need your neighbor to be here to voice their opinion because you're not doing it? You know, when you question a child of God, and I say this respectfully, when you question a child of God, that's questioning yourself, like as to who am I to myself? Who am I to myself? To be sitting here questioning God. When this child of God is standing before me today, they have a testimony within a testimony. I know they got more than a testimony to express within themselves. But being sexually assaulted as a child, going into their adulthood, dealing with trauma after trauma, being abandoned, people giving up on them, being homeless. No child should ever be homeless, right? That's what they say, no child should ever be homeless. And especially when the folks have a home and everything, and the folks say to that child is, I sleep good at night knowing that you're in the street. You know, people feel realizing the day it's the mental thing that goes on with people, and they don't understand that pushing a child away is like hurting your own self in the long run, because how you expect that child to be in tune with you, to respect you at the end of the day? That child's gonna just not even acknowledge you. They gonna respect you without saying nothing to you. It's the difference. But no child should ever be kicked out in the street because they respect themselves, because an adult don't have time for that child, or that adult took on a responsibility for a child that they don't even like. You know, that energy hit different, because there are family members out here that don't like the child. And it's sad and disturbing that this happens like this. But moral of the story, that child of God just overcame days where they thought they couldn't even see. They thought they couldn't even see for themselves. They just wanted to come out of the dark because it was so dark. And with God's guidance, God guided them to the light so they can see. You know how when you're in a room and it's dark in the room and you're trying to find the light when the light blows out, and you're finding your steps within your steps to find a light to turn on, let alone change the light bulb at that. But you're reaching for another light and you know it's nearby. And you're trying to get to this light just to turn it on. You're in the dark now. God is guiding you with faith, not by sight, to get to that light. So when that child of God got to the light, nobody couldn't understand within understanding that there are better days ahead, and they didn't understand and take the time with this child of God. And because that child of God was so overlooked, so much, so bad, that child of God has a testimony within a testimony, and it goes deeper than that. So neighbor, when you sit there and say that God is not working in child of God's life, and they expressing what they just override, and still is still overriding, because healing will forever be healing within that child of God, and whoever else is willing to accept the healing within themselves. Because you can't get in tune to who you truly are today, don't take your frustration out on somebody else, and never judge a book by its cover. You know, that child of God had to reevaluate their thought process multiple times to get to that light. To even know that, am I going to hurt myself when I get there? Am I going to be okay when I get there? It's a dark room. It's a dark room. But every step that they walked, God was guiding them. And as they stand before themselves to you today, neighbor, they are the living testimony within themselves. And God did watch over this child of God. And God allowed this child of God to believe in themselves, to have faith, to have hope, and to believe that forever be true to yourself and never give up. Because God didn't give up on you. You know, when God don't give up on you, the energy is different. And they can't get in tune as to, how did you do it? How? How? How did you do it? That's all they keep asking is, how did you do it? Some days that child of God doesn't even know how they did it. It was days when that child of God cried themselves to sleep. Nobody to wipe their tears. It was days when that child of God didn't eat because they didn't have an appetite, because they was too overly whelmed and they didn't understand their trauma. Why them? When that child of God was dealing with anxiety, depression, all people kept doing was just bringing that child of God down. That child of God was trying to find balance within themselves to see for themselves today. And as they kept going through their journey, all people kept doing was manipulating them, trying to suck them in their thought process, or bullying them, or allowing them to believe that they was unworthy. But God allowed them to believe that they was worthy of themselves. And God allowed them to believe like, hey, I'm patient with you. I'm going to guide you. I don't care what these folks I'm saying about you at the end of the day. I don't care what they got to say about you at the end of the day. They could talk all day long if they want to at the end of the day. But I know what I did for you today and what I'm going to continue to do for you today. With God's guidance, with the right protection of every direction, God is good. Yes, He is. God is good. You know, smile often and laugh loud. Regardless if it ain't funny. You know, everybody has a different type of sense of humor. What may not be funny to you may be funny to somebody else. It may be hilarious. It's the thought process for me. You know, and dealing with trauma and being sexually assaulted at a young age. You know, that child of God didn't have to wear masks anymore. They was able to be their transparent self without hiding from the world and without allowing the world to feel like they had to hold back who they was. Because everybody else was doing moving a certain kind of way. Like, nah, be your transparent self. Be happy for yourself. Do your thing. Especially when you ain't got malicious intentions to bring harm towards yourself or others around you. Go ahead. Set yourself free because you've been free. When God says you're free, you're free. That energy hit different! For real, it do. Most important thing, very powerful, becoming a believer, yo. Becoming a believer is real. Yes. You know, becoming a believer is so real because when you talk to certain people, communicate with certain people, they will try to bring you down because you're so high vibrational. Not only that you're just high vibrational, but the fact that you can speak about what you've been through and the people who's going through certain things in their life, they would disrespect you without giving you the respect because they're not where they want to be in their life. And just to know that at the end of the day, you're not alone. You're not. And just because you see a certain individual that overcame certain things in their life, within their life, and them trying to show for themselves, they don't think they're better than anybody. No, they don't. It was days where they cried for this very moment right here today. And they still trying to figure out how they got here today. But they know that God guided them here. They became a firm believer within themselves to be able to tell their testimony today. To let people know at the end of the day, you don't have to live in a certain mindset for someone to cycle your thought process on your freedom to stop you from being your transparent self. You know, like when something happens in your life, you put this mask on like you're okay. But inside, you're crying every single night. You're depressed. You're losing your job. There's a whole bunch of toxic stuff going on. Your family is breaking apart. Like, it's just so much stuff going on within going on. Excuse me. It's so much going on within going on at the end of the day. You just trying to find yourself and be at peace with yourself. But it's so hard for you to see for yourself because you haven't done the right healing for yourself. You know, it's no need to hate on somebody because they chose themselves. They chose the best self, part of them. And being that they chose the best self, part of them, to acknowledge what God installed within them, to do the right work for themselves. You know, no need to be jealous of that person. No need to be. But just by you just doing that, you pushing someone away that can be helping you without judging you, without disrespecting you. And I say that respectfully because people feel to realize at the end of the day, like, when somebody's able to tell their testimony, people start to have this mind frame. Somebody think they better than somebody. Oh, why? Because you healed and all this dumb stuff. Like, wait, what? Like, it be the mindset for me sometimes. Like, I don't even want to know who raised you at this point in time. I don't want to know. Take that up with God, respectfully. But I'm gonna wrap it up right now, and this is to say this: God is good, and when God is working in your favor, you don't need to fake it. You don't, because trying to fake something at the end of the day ain't gonna get you too far in life. It's not. And I say that respectfully because when you're genuine and true to yourself, you a real one, you ain't gotta wear a mask. And I say that respectfully. Hello! One time for the one time. Hi. Hey. For real. You don't. You don't have to wear a mask. When you genuinely are in tune with yourself to know what self-awareness is, to respect yourself, to have self-control, to have self-value and know your self-worth at the end of the day, to be at genuine self-peace with yourself, you don't wear a mask. Ain't no need to fake it to be down at the end of the day or act like you in your healing process. It would never make sense at the end of the day to you when you really reevaluate your thought process. And it's not a rush, or it's not a rush. What I would say, it's not a rush when you tune into God. Like, meaning to say this, it's not a race when you're dealing with God's timing. So that means being that it's not a race when you're dealing with God, nobody's better than the next person. Especially when you don't have malicious intentions to bring harm towards yourself and others around you, the innocent people. Because at the end of the day, God is on everybody's timing differently. God's in tune with everybody differently. God would never do what he did for me, for you. No. And what God does for you, he's not going to do what he did for you, for me. No. But I just hope and pray that God instill common sense in a lot of people because a lot of y'all need it. And I don't mean to be sarcastic or funny at the end of the day, but it's true. People need some common sense out here now. Like, make it make sense at the end of the day. Everybody's so quick to say they grown, they're an adult, and all this and the third, but y'all really acting like it? Y'all acting like children out here. A lot of y'all acting like children. Acting like I can't think for yourself, but y'all quick to go back and forth with words with somebody who is not bringing value to your table or let alone care about you at the end of the day. Y'all be worried about all the wrong stuff. And you so quick to gang stalk somebody and disrespect somebody all because they love themselves, and you worry about what this person is driving, you worry about what this person got, you worry about what this person house, what they got, if they in a relationship or not, or you worry about all the wrong stuff of what's going on in your household and let alone your own thought process. It's the mindset for me. Like, people could be so in tune and infatuated with somebody, right? But do they ever realize their thought process and say to themselves is, I gotta get myself together. Instead of trying to be in competition with somebody, she bought these Jordans, I'm gonna buy them too. She bought these shoes, I'm gonna buy them too, cause she got them and she thinks she better than somebody. I'm gonna go get it too, cause I know I'm the. Or fighting over men, fighting over women at the end of the day. Like, it be the mindset for me. Like, y'all fighting over somebody who even got a pot to piss the pot and throw it out of, all types of carrying on, type of crazy bogus stuff y'all got going on. It be the mindset for me. I just be reevaluating my thought process and saying to myself is, Dang, bro. Y'all fighting over somebody. He or she just came to your house or whatever. You gave them money. They leave to go chill with the next person. Now you mad. But they showed you who they truly was already. And now you fighting and carrying on. For what? What you fighting for? For who? For that? Okay. All right. The same person who out here sticking and poking or disrespecting, licking and whatever, walking around with this STD, that STD at the end of the day, and now you at the clinic reevaluating your thought process. Or you sleeping with the same person in the same building and y'all fighting each other every single day. Every time y'all see each other, y'all got words. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't even care. It's like it's the thought process of me. Like it's just like yeah, I be so worried about all the wrong stuff at the end of the day. But then when somebody's elevating, becoming their best self vision at the end of the day, y'all sitting there saying why, how, or y'all trying to bring negative energy towards this person, or whatever the toxic energy y'all trying to do towards this person and bring harm towards them and manipulate their character or something like their thought process. A lot of people believe something that they truly not. Like it be the monster for me. Like y'all be having all the time and energy for this stuff, but nobody has the time and energy to defend themselves when it comes to when it's vote time. To make common sense decisions. I'm leaving it right there. Just because someone gave up on you, don't give up on yourself. Just because someone overlooked you, don't give up on yourself. You are genuinely loved by all the right people. You are genuinely respected by all the right people. And you're going to be sure you respect 365 days with no malicious intentions to bring harm towards yourself and others around you. Protect your energy because not everybody's over your time. Never allow the enemy or hate in disguise or personal malicious intentions psych you out your thought process, let alone your freedom. Because you are worthy and you matter. God installed patience within us. God did not install us to get discouraged or live in fear. No, 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 no. Not even a little bit. God installed patience within us to become our best self visions of ourselves, regardless to what trauma was installed within us as a child, going to our adulthood, dealing with trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma. God wants you to be your best self vision of yourself. And I say that respectfully. And going against the wrong person, it's not even cool. Not even a little bit. It's the mindset for me. You going against your neighbor that don't even have malicious intentions towards you or others around you, let alone the children, but you going against them. Stop putting everybody in the same category. And I say that respectfully. Protect your energy, because not everybody's over your time. I truly appreciate the time to the genuine ones only. Hey! What's going on? Till next time. Same time, maybe same place. Who knows? Better days ahead. I said what I said. Better days ahead. Ooh, yeah. Better days ahead. Ooh, yeah. It's a thought process with me. Have a good day. Take it easy. Night, genuine love, respect.